Oh, welcome back. Glad to see you today. You know, in every series there has to be a crazy day, and this is our crazy day. So we thought we'd do a painting that's really far out and that maybe it'll excite the imagination. We're going to have a little campfire down here and all the big trees around, and we'll just sort of see what happens. And I've taken a black canvas that was painted with a flat black acrylic that was allowed to dry, and then covered the entire canvas with alizarin crimson. So let's go. Let's start out with cad yellow on the 1-inch brush and decide where you want the little campfire to be here. And we'll start, let's put it right there, and just start making little X's or crisscross strokes and working around. There we go. And just let this go. Go all the way out to the edges of the canvas. Even if you can't see anything happening, let it go. Because little things are happening. It's picking up the color. There, just all the way out. Just these little crisscross X-type strokes. There. Now, you can make this as bright as you want it, but each time, clean and dry your brush before you go back into the center. You want that to be the brightest area in the painting. So we'll clean the brush, beat it dry, and add a little bit more of the cad yellow. And go right back in here. And just lay in some color. And then begin working outward again. That way, automatically, it gets darker as it goes farther away from the little campfire that's going to be here. All right. There we go. Now, clean this brush up and we're ready to get serious with this. Okay, with a large brush, I'm just going to begin blending this out. There. Just very gently, still making the little crisscross strokes. Working outward. You don't want to bring a dirty brush back to the center. Don't want to ruin the beautiful bright color you have right there. Okay. And then very gently we take the brush strokes out just by going across the canvas. All right. And we're going to try to show you some things today. They're a little different than anything we've done in the past, so hope you'll enjoy this one. Okay, now, let's take the fan brush. We'll put some Van Dyke brown on it and a little bit of crimson. Van Dyke brown, touch of crimson. Just mix them on the brush. And maybe we back here in the distance, we can just see the trunks of some trees and just let them sort of disappear. These are just some little trees in the background. Just sort of let them disappear. Maybe right here, maybe there's a bigger one. So we just push a little harder and just let it disappear. And we can put a little limb out here on him. He wants a little arm. And oh, wherever you want them here, you can just put little indications. Just far away. All kinds of little things happening. There we are. Like so. Now, let's take a 1-inch brush and we'll put Van Dyke brown and alizarin crimson on the 1-inch brush, loaded full of paint, and we can begin applying some little leaves back here. And all we're doing is just touching the canvas, bending the brush a little bit. All we're looking for is just very basic, gentle shapes. We're not looking for a lot of detail. These are just little background trees that are far away. So just wherever you think there might be some leaves, just drop them in. Don't really spend a lot of time worried about it. Maybe there's a little bush right there that just sort of graduates into nothing. The glow of the fire here will take care of the bottom of all of these, so don't worry about them. Okay, now we can take and let's add a little bit, then just a tiny bit here. A little yellow ochre, Indian yellow, mixed together. And we can just highlight some of these where the light's striking them from the fire. And just begin picking out little individual things and drop some little highlights on them here and there. Don't overdo. Keep it quite subdued. Little yellow ochre, Indian yellow mixed together. Once again, this is just going to be background trees far away, so we don't have to spend a lot of time worrying about them, trying to make them perfect. Just a tiny bit over here. Not as much. Tiniest little bit. Just some indications. There we go. Now we can have fun. I'm going to take the large brush and very gently, I'm just going to blend all of this in. I want it to be very soft and very far away. So let's go right up here and watch. Very gently, just still making the little crisscross strokes. Just begin blending all of it. Just let it blend away. Okay, now we just take the brush strokes out by just going across. See how far away that looks already? Isn't that fantastic? Okay. I didn't put any highlights on this one little bush that I laid right here. So let's put a few little highlights on him. Don't want him to get upset because we didn't have any. And then we'll just very gently blend him also. There. Okay. Now, we can use this big brush and begin adding all kinds of little things that are happening around here. Maybe right in here, there's some nice little bushes that are growing. And just drop in some basic shapes. We're not too worried about detail yet. There's one. Just let him fall right off your brush. And maybe as we get farther away here, maybe there's some great big trees that are going to be growing over in here. Great big old ones. Come in. Still using just crimson and Van Dyke brown. There we are. Just give us some nice basic little shapes to work with. Okay, now then we can start playing a little bit. Let's take Indian yellow and permanent red and just mix it together. And let's begin dropping some little highlights right up in here. Just let them sparkle. Think where the light would hit them. There we go. Maybe a little bit up in here. There. Okay, that's Indian yellow and a touch of permanent red. Right there. Okay, maybe right here there's another one. Now, as they get farther away from the fire, less and less you're going to see. So, back in here, we're just going to begin putting a little bit of stuff. But don't worry too much about highlights back in here. Like so. Just sort of let them disappear. A little bit up here. Then it just disappears. Just enough to set them off a little bit so you can see them. There we go. Nice little one lives right there. There. Okay. Now then, let's go right up in here and play with the fire a little bit. I got in trouble for playing in fire when I was young. Today we can do it. Going to take a little bit of Van Dyke brown and we'll just make some little indications of some wood here. And it's all burnt. It could be just about any old way that you want it. There. And then maybe there's some ground area right down through here that we can see. Still Van Dyke brown. pull it across. Just pull it. Like that. Okay. Now, take a little bit of yellow ochre and burnt umber mixed together. And we can put a little bit of highlight right out here. And start here and work down so it gets darker automatically because you're running out of paint. You're picking up more and more of the undercolor. Let the canvas work for you. Okay. Now, tell you what, let's put a little fire right here. I'm just using a little bit of cad yellow and just touch and just give an indication of a little bit of fire. A little small campfire. There we go. That's enough to convey what we're trying to show here. Now, take the fan brush and we'll use a little bit of the yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and permanent red all mixed together on the fan brush. And mix them on the brush. And we can begin laying in some little grassy areas here. A little bit brighter up here by the fire. So start at the brightest area and work downward. I want these to be very soft, just where the light's striking them. Get darker, darker, darker. There. Dark up here. And we can just lay in all kinds of happy little things. Maybe right along here. There. Okay, there's one that comes way down. It's your world, so you can put them anywhere you want them. There we go. Just down like so. There's a good place for a couple more. Okay. Now maybe. I want to take and add a little bit more of the Van Dyke brown right in here. I know what we should do. Maybe this is a little lake out here. Little, you know, if you're going to build a little campfire, you need to have water close by. So we put a little cad yellow on the large brush, go right here, touch, and pull straight down. Okay, just a little, touch, pull straight down. And it's going to pick up the crimson that's underneath and turn a beautiful reddish color. Work from the lightest area, which would be directly under the fire, out. That way, automatically, as you go away from the fire, it gets darker and darker. And very gently come across. Just very gently. Don't want to kill all these nice lines that you put in there. Just make them just look like water. Okay. Now, maybe there's a little projection that comes right out through here. We'll just add a little bit more of the brown. Bring it right on out. Drop a little bit of the highlight color on it. There we go. And we go back to our little fan brush, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and a touch of permanent red. And we can just drop in some little grassy things that are growing down this hill. There. I think I've mentioned it earlier, but in case you missed it, if you have questions or comments or something we can help you with, please feel free to drop us a line. We'd like to know what you want. We'd like to know what you want in future series, what type of things interest you. A lot of the paintings in this series have come from letters that people have wrote and told us what they wanted to see. Okay, let me clean up a big brush here, and let's play a little bit. Okay. That's still fun. Okay, I want to subdue all of this. It's much too bright. So with a large brush, very gently, I'm just going to begin blending it. very gently. Just let it barely touch. Make it very quiet. Push it way back. Because you wouldn't see all this much bright if it's dark. So we just want to subdue it here. Very quiet. Subdued. Very quietly. Just blend it. Because you know, when you have the little campfire out there at night, things almost look unreal. You get all kinds of weird colors and shapes. They're beautiful. There we go. Clean up that reflection there a little bit. I'm going to take a tiny bit of the yellow and put a little bit of reflection into this little projection right here. Pull it straight down. Just come across. Like so. Okay. But you see how quiet that makes that look. It's very, very quiet. Let's go right up in here, and maybe there's a great big tree right here. Right here. Big son of a gun. He just goes all the way off the canvas. There we are. And you can make your tree as big or as small as you want him. Okay, this is just straight Van Dyke brown. There we go. Big, strong tree. I love to paint trees. They're one of the most fantastic things in nature to me. Okay, give him a little arm or limb up here. There we go. Like so. Now we can take a little bit of permanent red and sort of highlight this tree. This permanent red with a little burn umber in it. And then we can lay some highlights on here. Just where you think the light from the fire would strike the tree. Use your imagination. Let your heart take you wherever you want to go. Highlight playing on this limb up here. Okay. Now, maybe there's an old fella sitting out here warming his foots next to the fire. Maybe we'll have a cowboy out here. We'll put him a hat on. So we just start right here with a little edge of the knife and just sort of come around. We can just see part of him. He's leaning up against a tree. There's the brim of his hat. Little top of his hat. And at home, when you have unlimited time, you can take a lot more time and effort with this and really go into some detail. Maybe he sort of slumped over and there's his shoulder coming down. And maybe there's an arm. Okay, there we go. Maybe he's sort of got his foot sticking up like that. There's his leg. And these are just very basic little things. As I say, at home you can take your time and put a lot of detail into these. Just want to give you ideas here. Okay, now we can sort of straighten him out a little bit. Better give him some buns to sit on. There we go. Give him a little foots. Maybe his hand's just resting on his knee. See, I should have put him in before I put the highlights on the tree. I've messed my highlights up. But that's easy. We'll just go back and drop our highlights right back in. There we are. So the tree stands away from the guy a little bit. And we can take a little bit of the yellow ochre and think where light would strike here. Maybe a little bit on his hat right there, like so. Maybe a little coming around. Just a little right there. Maybe a little bit across the top of the shoulder. You know, I got to tell a little story here. We have a lot of requests that have came in wanting portraits. And years ago, I studied with a super painter and studied portraits for, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And he became a very dear friend. And he took me aside one night and he says, Bob, he says, I've got to tell you the truth. He said, I want you to go and paint bushes and trees because that's where your heart is, and give up portraits. So that's why I'm here. There we go. And just maybe a little highlight bouncing across there. A little bit on his knee. That really is a true story, too. He really did tell me I should give up portraits. Takes a special knack. Okay. You know, we talk about that sometime, about talent. What is talent? Talent is nothing more than a pursued interest. In other words, things that you're interested in, you'll spend a lot more time working at than something you're not interested in. So that's all talent is. It's if you're willing to practice, spend the time to perfect something. Okay. Now then, let me clean up the brush a little bit. And there we go. We can just soften all this, just very gently. Very gently. And we can come down here, use a little bit of the dark color and put a little tiny bit of a waterline indication in here. Just a small amount. This is really a fun little painting. It should give you a lot of ideas for a lot of crazy things that you can do. And they should make you happy. We really want painting to make you happy. That's what it's all about. Okay, and I can just quieten this down a little bit over in the corner. Like so. Now, if you wanted to create a little more depth here, then you can add, maybe there's another little bush here that comes in front of the tree. And this will produce, every plane that you add into the painting will produce a little bit more depth. Okay, I'll take a little bit of the Indian yellow, permanent red, and we can put some highlights on this little bush. Push everything back a little further. Okay, I think we're about to get this one fixed up. We might put a few little leaves right up here, just to show that this one goes into a nice big tree. A little bit of the color. Indian yellow, permanent red. And just drop it in. Now, if you really want to have some fun, you could take the liner brush with a little bit of thin color on it and sort of go over some of these little logs here and make them stand out just a little more, because there'd be a lot of light hitting these. And we can fix him up a little. Oh, he wants an indication that there's an old fella sitting out here warming his foots. There we go. All right. Looks sort of like an old guy out here just silhouetted against the campfire. And I think this one's about ready for a signature. So let's put a signature right about here. Yeah, there comes a time when you can just absolutely piddle a painting to death. Okay, there we are. And we have that one all signed. Now, next week, I want to show you a fantastic little painting that I think will just tickle you to death. So have your canvas set up. We'll be doing a white canvas. I think that you'll really enjoy it. And, you know, talk for just a second. We would really like to hear from you and know what type of paintings that you would like to see in the future. So drop us a line in Cary WIPB, Muncie, Indiana, and we'll be glad to answer any question, and we'll try to put together shows that supply you with the type paintings that you want to see. We also would like to someday put together a show where we bring on guest artists from all over the country and let them show you a multitude of different effects that you can try, that you can enjoy, that do good things to your heart. So we're looking forward to doing this for you. Anything else that you would like to see? On behalf of all of us here at the station, we'd like to wish each and every one of you happy painting. We hope you have a super day. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.